Hey everybody, what's up? So I want to talk about a movie called What Dreams May Come. This was released back in, let me get pulled back up here, 1998. It's based off of a book by Richard Mason. I think that's how you pronounce it. The guy who did I Am Legend. This normally is not a movie I would typically watch because the basis is a pediatrician by the name of Chris loses his two children in a car accident. Later on, he's killed in a car accident, and he doesn't really realize it. He tries talking to his wife, nothing goes on, and he ends up in kind of like heaven, but at first it's a heaven of his making. In the book, it's called the Summerland, and he finds out his wife unfortunately cannot last much longer without him and the kids. She ends up losing her life and by her own hand, and he decides he's going to go to hell to find her. And there's a lot you learn along the way. There are some differences between the two. Honestly, visually, I mean, this is a great movie. Um, the concept of heaven and hell, I'll admit, not something I'm typically big in on movies, primarily because I think there's so much interpretation. But the fact that Chris is able to create his own heaven, and later on you learn how hell is basically somebody's own making, you can kind of see where where they can take some liberties, how they can create all these stunning visuals like what you see on the cover. You actually do see this in the movie. Um, it's one of the things is he's told that no one has ever gone to hell and brought somebody back. He decides he's going to go to hell to find his wife. And there are, from the book, I understand that there's differences like how long his wife was supposed to stay in hell versus the movie. There's differences. Like I said, Summerland is heaven. Like, should his wife have, how do I want to say it? Should his wife have suffered for so long? Different stuff like that. And there is an idea also of reincarnation. It's a tearjerker. I gotta admit, I did cry in certain parts of it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it still sticks out because the original idea in the book is that Chris visits this medium, psychic, whatever you want to call her, and he basically tells her all this stuff about his journey, everything that's happening, and she can't do anything until she writes it all out and delivers it to his brother. This isn't really something that is explored in the movie, and I kind of understand why. It it is so heart wrenching though, and I'm going to kind of give a spoiler here, which I normally don't do. The way when he goes to hell to visit to try to rescue his wife, you find out his kids have been with him all along. He just hasn't realized it. One of the people that he meets is this guy by the name of Albert, who was someone he knew when he was in medical residency. And then turns out the Albert he meets when he first gets there isn't the original Albert. It's kind of twisted. The way he saves her, like seriously, come on, stop making me want to cry. I'm not that emotional. I don't like movies that tend to exploit a lot of sadness in that. I got this because I tried reading the book, couldn't, but I wanted to watch the movie. It took a long time. Um, some stuff happened. It got boxed up. But this is the version I bought back in 2002, 2003, maybe. Um, I think my problem is to this day, I think a lot of people may question it. We know why with Robin Williams, but a lot of people talked about, there was reflections like in the book of Hindu New Age and that versus this is a Christian version kind of. But sorry, turning up a little bit. But it is worth it. It is worth watching, um, just for the if you're not religious, it's still a good story. It's still a lot of great visuals. My complaint would be how they handled the situation with the kids. Um, you have to watch it to understand it. I think like I said, leaving the psychic part out, that was a good part. Good thing on their behalf, because honestly, it works so much better. The story wise, without it being told. This is being told to me. I need to tell you, so he can move on. That's the basis of it. The other reason, spoiler, um, she had to write everything down was because Chris decides he's going to become reincarnated, which is where some people question things. Especially that happens in the movie at some point. They talk about that. I kind of question, both the book and the movie, why they go into this reincarnation. I understand that you may want to spend time with someone, your time may have been cut short, and you have this love that you'll never understand. That probably is the other part of it that I really, when I found a lot of it out, and especially I read a synopsis for the book because, like I said, it's just not my cup of tea. It might be for others. But yeah, it turns out that, at least in the book, that he and his wife have had a several reincarnations, which almost makes you wonder, why don't they ever, why do they keep going back? Why is there this choice, especially at the end, why would you want to be reincarnated when you can spend the rest of eternity with someone? It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite jokes. Couple die and go to heaven, and they were a couple weeks away from getting married. And St. Peter goes, "Hey, is there anything you guys want?" And they said, "Yeah, we'd like to get married." St. Peter goes and says, "Well, let's go." And he goes, "Come here, go find me a priest to get these two married." About 7 months later, they get a priest. They get married off, and they said, just out of curiosity, what would happen if we went to get divorced? He goes, "If you think it took that long to get a priest, think of how long it would take to get a lawyer." Bad joke, but hey, like I said, one of my favorite jokes, and I think it kind of fit into this because when you talk about reincarnation and when you spend time with each other, that's the best way to do it, because they wouldn't remember their past lives. And honestly, I think that's kind of cool. Um, I think, like I said, that probably is my only other problem. But hell, oh my god, the scene where they're in hell, you would think almost that Tim Burton was close to being part of that set design. I'm not kidding. It was that creepy factor that he can sometimes bring. It's just amazing. That's it, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.